Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to humble assembled devotees. Today we will be having Guru Maharaj, we will be doing. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody
Okay.
else somewhere.
Okay. Are we continuing from yesterday, Guru Maharaj, or are we doing the?
So we're sending around John Mustang themes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna choose one verse from first canto, 8th chapter. Prayers by Kunti.
Okay. First canto, 3rd chapter, you said, Maharaj?
8th canto, 8th chapter.
8th chapter. Canto. Is it the churning of the milk of ocean, Guru Maharaj? 8th canto, 8th chapter, right?
First canto.
Sorry.
8th chapter, verse number 32. 1:8:32.
1:8:32. Okay. Okay. I'll share my screen now, Guru Maharaj.
This is in connection with Janmashtami, so these are prayers by Queen Kunti. Kechirohora Jambaja Tam Purna Sloka Sikirta Ye Yado Prayasvat Malasya Yeva Chandanam. Now she's speaking to Krishna directly, and she's saying, some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings. And others say he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malayan hills. Next verse. Apare Vasudevasya Devakyam Yachito Byagat Ajastvam Asya Shemayam Vadaye Chasura Dvisam. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn. Yet you take your birth for their welfare, and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. Next verse. Bharavatara Nayanye Bhuvanava Vivodida Siddhyatya Buri Bharenam Jatuyatma Uvartitaha. Others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. Bhavasmin klishyamananam vidyakama karma bihi shravanam smaram naharani karishyan iti kechana. And the others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, and worshiping, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material angst can take advantage and gain liberation. Shrinvatam Gayatam Grinante Abhiksnasya Smartam Nandatam Tevedam Janam Deva Pasya Avicharena Tavakam Bhava Pavaha Ramam Padmam Padambujam. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Purport: the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna cannot be seen by our present conditioned vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life, full of spontaneous love of Godhead. When Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Shishupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it's not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, and repeated by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. The reason is that the first item, Shravanam, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purpose. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker, then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other process become automatically perfect in their own way. Okay. Umagyantimirandasya Ganajana Savakaya Chaksun Militam Yenata Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamrupa Kidammayam Dadati Swapadanti Kam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya De Satayana Panchakalpa Tarubhascha Pipa Sindhupe Pachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these beautiful prayers with heartfelt love to Shri Krishna. Krishna is standing right in front of her and she's speaking these prayers directly. And she's giving a very broad, somewhat of an inquisitive type of explanation of Krishna's appearance in this world, citing many reasons why the Lord comes. The Lord comes for many reasons. One thing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead is that when he performs an activity, he doesn't simply do it for one particular purpose. There are many purposes that are accomplished by any and all of his activities. So here we see there's a whole list, and each one is correct to, uplift the pious kings, to give pleasure and appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, also Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda, to relieve the burden of the world of the demons, and to rejuvenate the whole process of devotional service by hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. But when you study Krishna's appearance, you'll find that some of these things are done for the management of the material world. Now, these are extra. When Krishna does something that is in relationship to the material world, it's just extra. Because he's here, he takes care of these automatically. But these are not his main reasons for coming. Main reasons for coming is, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita, to give pleasure to his devotees, to strengthen the love of his presence devotees, to give them, free them from the fear that they may have due to the burden of the demons which are somewhat pervading the world. So he comes mostly for his devotees, and also to enjoy his own transcendental pastimes. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He is love personified, and he enjoys his pastimes both in the spiritual world and in the material world. He is the supreme personality of enjoyment, and he also shares the principle of enjoyment with others who connect with him in devotional service. Therefore, if anybody wants real enjoyment, and that enjoyment that is lasting and is not dependent on external features, not dependent on how much we have, or what we are, or who we are, or what we do, what family we're born in, what people we know, none of these things. Simply that happiness that comes automatically by our connection with Krishna in devotional service. And that is done through the process of hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. So he does come to inspire his devotees to glorify him and to serve him in different ways. And therefore he appears to give a pleasure to his devotees, but at the same time, he's enacting his transcendental pastimes in loving service with his intimate associates. Particularly, he came to reestablish, or not reestablish, but to rejuvenize in the material world the Sringara Ras, the Ras of loving relationships between himself and his intimate associates, the gopis of Sri Vrindavan Dham. In that particular mood of activity, he is exemplifying his next incarnation, which is, of course, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came with the internal mood of Srimati Radharani. To understand Lord Chaitanya is not possible unless one is actually free from all material desires and fixed in devotional service. Although we can explain a little bit about Lord Chaitanya, we cannot understand him. We can hear about his pastimes as he appeared in this world to exchange loving relationships with his devotees. But his mood is the mood of his internal energy, Srimati Radharani, and he is loving himself in her position and experiencing the happiness that she has for him, and also the feelings of separation she also has for him. So he's also teaching the mood of separation as he experiences it himself, which is the mood that he came to teach, and that is to love Krishna in the mood of separation. Sometimes people talk so much about seeing Krishna, being with Krishna, and if you do this, then Krishna will appear to you. And there's a lot of these yogis out there. They have some knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, but they twist their formulas to give themselves a unique position, and they talk about Krishna in a very somewhat ordinary way. But Krishna is not like that. So, but Lord Chaitanya exemplified the mood of loving Krishna in his mood of Radharani's separation from him. So, to hear about Krishna more and more awakens our desire to have Krishna. the more we learn about him, not so much his activities in the material world, which are also important for a devotee, because a devotee wants to know everything about Krishna, not only his internal mood with his devotees and loving relationships, but his external mood and how he deals with the material energy, how he kills the demons and so forth. But in his internal mood, he's actually sharing that is a mood of teaching how one can worship him in that mood. So to hear and chant the glories of the Lord, and his glories are unlimited. It says that Ananta Shesh, who is the multi-headed serpent, he's the serpent in the bottom of the universe. He has all of the universes sitting on his head. They're almost like little mustard seeds. He's so huge that even if one of the universes falls off from his connection, he doesn't even notice it. He's so huge. He covers all the universes in one particular manifestation of himself. He's an expansion of Lord Balaram. He's called Sheshanaga. But one of his services is to glorify the Lord. And he does that continuously with his multi-headed, with his many mouths, and he just chants the glories of the Lord over and over again. And he never repeats the same glory even once. It's not like he's saying the same thing over and over again. The Lord is unlimited. When he was here as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was performing a pastime every second. And this is the words of the Acharyas. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, every moment he was performing a particular pastime. So when we hear and chant the glories of the Lord, hearing about them and also speaking about them, the next stage develops that we remember Krishna. Hearing is important, and if one is expert at the process of hearing, one can gradually come slowly to the process of smartam, which is remembrance. Remembrance is the goal. Out of all of the 9 processes of bhakti, the goal of bhakti is to remember the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smarnam, and all of the other activities, Parasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakam, Atmanivedanam, all of these processes are different ways to offer our loving mood to Krishna in devotion to him, in service. But the essence is Smarnam. Smarnam is to remember Krishna, and Smarnam goes through 5 stages of development, where there is an occasional thought of Krishna, it comes into the mind and it goes out. That's cool. That's just technical names that describe each of the different stages. That we have that experience. We can think of Krishna, and then the next minute we're doing something else or thinking something else. And that's the one level of smarnam. And then when that thought process becomes what we say more continuous, when the intervals of forgetfulness are not as frequent as the occasional coming in and out, that's another level when we start to remember Krishna more. And then it comes to what is called dharana. Dharana means meditation. We actually meditate on the different activities of Krishna, his forms, his names, especially his pastimes. When that dharana becomes stronger, becomes dhyana, which is full concentration. When meditation comes to a stable level of concentration where there is no break in the meditation, and then when that intensifies itself to continuous 24 hours a day, that's even, we say 24/7, and that's not a hyperbole or just an exaggeration. That is called samadhi, or being fully absorbed in remembering Krishna. And to hear and chant the glories of the Lord brings the stage of remembrance gradually through the different levels until one starts to, when one gets to the point of meditating on Krishna continuously, one develops an intense hankering for Krishna. And when that hankering becomes so strong that one simply wants to associate with Krishna directly, and then through that intensification of meditation, actually Krishna appears within the heart and within the mind of the devotee to satisfy the devotee's love for him. And one experiences the happiness of Krishna's personally present within their heart and within their mind. But this is the practice of bhakti. So the whole process is to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. That's why Krishna appeared in this material world. It's known as Janmashtami. Krishna does not take birth. He is known as the unborn. In the spiritual world, there is some semblance of him taking birth for the sake of pastime. But when he comes to the material world, he accepts a mother and father, and he goes through the whole process just like it appears, just similar to as the conditioned souls take birth in this world. Of course, his appearance is divyam, which is transcendental. It's not exactly the same, but it has some similarities into it. So when he performs his activities in this world, there is a special sweetness, and that's mentioned by Sanatana Goswami. That when he performs his pastimes in this world, there's an extra sweetness that comes with these pastimes that charms the hearts of his devotees who get the chance to serve him in his manifestation as he appears in this world as Sri Krishna. And that is actually the purpose of Janmashtami, is to awaken, strengthen, and ultimately solidify the devotee's relationship with Krishna until it reaches the point of pure love. And then Tattva Deham Purna Janmani, 19 Mameti Sorjanam, then the devotee has no more dealings with this material world. They see the material world as just like if you are, I guess if you're going shopping and you're in a shopping mall and you're walking through the mall and you're seeing varieties of stores, but none of them interest you. But then you're looking for that store that interests you. So Krishna is like that store that's interests you, and all of these other stores are just there. They have no interest, so you just pass them by like that. You don't even investigate beyond just normal glancing at them. So when the devotee comes to that stage where the material world is incidental, it's just here. We go through the motions, just like Lord Chaitanya would also explain that he would perform his activities of eating and bathing simply as a feature of maintaining the body with no real attachment or even concern about them, just to get them done so he could continue on with his activities in this world. So he was just teaching from the point of view of the perfect teacher, how the devotee actually comes to the point of seeing this material world as just so insignificant and has no real meaning. Nothing about it really makes the devotee is completely attracted and attached to Krishna, and they're increasing that more and more through their devotional activities, where they get to the point where they can no longer live without Krishna. When no one can no longer live without Krishna, one is simply going mad trying to connect with Krishna more and more, then that is called lauyam. That is intense greed. There's two words. One is called lauyam and one is called, what is the other one? One is hankering and one is greed. Greed is a little bit more of intensification for hankering. The hankering for Krishna and actually becoming greedy to associate with Krishna always. And then when Krishna sees that, then Krishna takes the devotee and brings him back to the spiritual world. Now he has reached perfection. So this is the process. We have to hear and chant the glories of the Lord more and more, and stop, trying to make a solution to the problems of the material world. The problems of the material world will continue. The material world and the word problem is synonymous. It's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole is try to solve the problems of the material world. It just doesn't work because the material world for the living entity is problematic. It's just the way it is. It's a place for difficulty, suffering, disappointment, and ultimately everything is ended by the process of old age and death. So if we just somehow or other tolerate the difficulties we have to experience in this material world, Lord Chaitanya would give an example. Someone would say to him, my dear Lord, you're such a great devotee of the Lord. Seeing him as a great devotee, they would praise him in different ways and glorify him. And he would respond, I have no love for Krishna. I don't even have a slightest bit of love for Krishna. If I did, why am I still breathing? Why am I still eating? Why am I still trying to maintain this body? So he's giving the example of how on the highest platform, a devotee looks to the material world as simply a botheration. It's just like, oh, well, just like passing stool, you might say. And that's a good example. You have to do it because that's part of living and taking care of the body. So you do it, and it's no big thing. And then you go on with your real business. So in the same way, living in this material world is just like visiting the bathroom and getting out of it as fast as you can. And the getting out process is here. It says here in this particular, it says that, O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth, and death. So here's the one. So after glorifying Krishna in so many ways and glorifying why he comes to the material world, she gets right to the essence. Shrinati gayanti grinanti abhiksnasya smaranti nandati tarehitam janaham deva pasyat achireno tavakam bhava paviho paramam padam vijam. So this is beautiful prayer. So Janmashtami is not simply a day where we celebrate Krishna and then with the rest of the year we forget about him or do something else. Or we simply go to the temple, have a big feast and say some nice words, do some prayers and then go home. Janmashtami is the actual mood of a devotee that they want Krishna to take birth every moment within their life. And Krishna is appearing in the life of his devotee through the process of hearing and chanting the glories of heaven. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. My humble obeisance to you for enlightening us with the pastimes of Krishna and how to develop our love for Krishna. Dear devotees, this is such an interesting topic, and I'm sure you must have got so many questions. So please ask your questions. Please start your cameras if you can, wherever you are, so that we can have your darshan. And if you have any realization or any comments, please raise your hand or put it in the chat. I will read it. Okay, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please unmute.
Thank you, Sukaranandji. From Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all of the Vaishnavas. Guru Maharaj, you said that the purpose is for us to be able to invoke us to always remember Krishna. So what is the best thing to do on Janmashtami to enable that to happen?
Well, Janmashtami is set up for a variety of activities. You want me to give you a listing of some of the things you can do? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said
It will
it.
help everyone. Yeah, thank
Yes.
I'll give you a listing of some of the things you can do on that day. Let me see if I can go somewhere else here. How to get out of here. What button do I push to go out?
Guru Maharaj, just exit the full screen, and then you can see the other tabs to go on the other tabs.
Okay.
In the
Exit.
view button, you can exit the full screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Exit full screen.
Yes, and then you can see other tabs.
Okay. Yeah. All right, here we go. So I'll read some things that are recommended for the Janmashtami. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, and this is from Sanatan Goswami in his Hari Bhakti Ballad, that the vow of Janmashtami is compulsory for everyone. It is a regular observance that free ones from all sins and grants ones all kinds of transcendental benefits. Srila Prabhupada established the ideal observation of Janmashtami shortly after the incorporation of ISKCON. He demonstrated that one should alternate every half hour between chanting japa and reading or speaking about Lord Krishna. The midnight arti should be special and should be followed by an equally special feast for the devotee. Prabhupada writes, Janmashtami is the day, it's most opulent festival for the devotees. It's observed in every house with great pomp in India. It should be done with great celebration, essential chanting and glorification of Krishna's holy names. And there are many spiritual injunctions and guidelines that's for devotees to follow. Okay, so here it says 1. I'll just read the long list. Rising early and bathing. 2. Physically announcing to the Lord's one determination to follow the vow of fasting and keeping a vigil that is called a sankalpa. 3. Hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna's names and Krishna's childhood pastimes throughout the entire day of Janmashtami, continuing into the following day until breaking one's fast. Bathing the deities on the altar and offering them new dress. Bathing at midday in the holy river or any other body of water. Performing abhishek of the deities. Constructing a maternity room, including deities of Krishna as parents as well. A little model of Krishna's being born in your own home, just like they do in Christmas. They do something like a manger scene where they have Christ and the newborn Christ like that. Installing and worshiping the maternity room. Worshipping the moon with Arghya at moonrise. Describing the events of Krishna's birth and childhood pastimes. performing dramas that depict the same, and reading the Bhagavad Gita with Leela Kirtan. Performing a verse ceremony prior to midnight, including bathing Krishna, cutting the umbilical cord, worshipping Goddess Sasti, and having a name-giving ceremony for Krishna in the maternity world. Decorating the deity room before midnight. At midnight, make offerings and perform arti. Holding a feast of Ekadasi Prasadam at midnight. Hearing narrations of Krishna's pastimes, as well as singing and dancing throughout the night. At dawn, performing one's morning duties and offering prayers. Distributing charity and feeding brahmanas. And completing the vow. Prabhupada may have made concessionary detailed alterations for his disciples and followers, but he maintained and preserved the essential aspect of Janmashtami, which is to do nothing else but glorify Krishna. And by doing so, devotees may elect to follow and uphold the basic Janmashtami vow provided by Srila Prabhupada, or to make authorized additions by including what I just read, but these are coming from Sanatana Goswami from Hari Bhakti Vilaya. So Prabhupada's basic thing is to hear and chant the glories of the Lord and alternate that, perform dramas and various types of pujas to worship the Lord. Whatever you choose to do it with determination. When one observes Janmashtami, nothing else remains that he needs to do. He has already attained all pious benefits. At the end of this lifetime, he will go to the abode of Lord Krishna. That's spoken by Sanatana Goswami. These are some suggestions and some statements by Sanatana Goswami to worship Lord Krishna on Janmashtami.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, most of us tend to be involved in service for much of the day or all of the day at our local temples. So we can't do most of the things on the list, but is that still okay?
Yeah, that's what we mentioned, that do what you can do, but it should center around hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj, in connection with Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu's question, as Prabhuji mentioned that most of us are involved in the full day service, which is the best time we can bathe our deities and we can change their clothing and stuff? Is it okay the next day, or is it the day before we should do that?
Oh, your personal duties? Yeah.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
You can do it on the same day. Just pick
Same day we are at the manor till late night, Guru Maharaj.
Oh.
We come back after the aarti. We come back.
Well, then make provisions and do it at another time. That's all.
Okay. So before going for the service, we can do it. We don't need to wait till midnight, is it?
No.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone else has got any other questions? There's nothing in the chat so far.
Sridevi
Mataji, yes.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for this wonderful class describing to us what we need to do. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, on this point of absorbing ourselves more and more in Krishna, over here it is said that intense hankering, intense desire, lolium, as you mentioned, will help us to actually see Krishna. But on the other hand, we are also told, don't try to see Krishna, but act in such a way that Krishna wants to see you. So supposing we want to see Krishna, how is that going to actually come in the way of us developing this attitude of pure service, whether I see Krishna or not, I will continue to serve him nicely without worrying whether Krishna will allow me to see him. And that way I will get to see Krishna. Or I'm really confused about this because I hear all the time that you shouldn't want to see Krishna, you shouldn't try to see Krishna, and you shouldn't want to go back to Krishna, but you should observe yourself more and more in service. So I'm not able to understand how to develop this intense, should one have intense hankering for service or intense hankering to see Krishna?
Krishna reveals himself through the service.
Oh,
How else can you connect with Krishna? Well, you think you can just go down the street and see him. There's a way to connect with him. That's called service. So when your service becomes intensified, when it becomes continuous, then Krishna reveals himself gradually to the devotee through his service. And when you hear and chant the glories of the Lord, then we start to really come closer and closer to Krishna through the mood of attraction for Krishna. The glories of Krishna are very attractive by nature. Satam prasangam mama virya sambuddho bhavanti rittarna rasayana pita. Those hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord are nectar to the ears, to the eyes, to the heart, to the mind. But do it in association with others, and that becomes a wonderful experience. If we don't do it, and we just theorize about it, then it's good. We can read, but when we associate with other devotees and hear and chant the glories of the Lord, and then it becomes an experience. That's why we have sadhu sangha, association with devotees, which I can't wait to get to Sukavaha's house so I can get some good association.
We can't wait as well, Guru Maharaj. I'm just counting the days now.
I'm counting the minutes.
In relation to Sridevi Mataji's question, for us we still have got some of the material responsibilities. How do we manage remembering Krishna all the time? Because it is good at home because we continuously listen to the kirtan or keep chanting on and preparing food.
Your material responsibilities are the most important thing in life. Whether they get done or they don't get done, usually it's incidental. We try to do them, but do them in a simplified way.
Okay. So at work, what should we do, Guru Maharaj?
You have to learn by your own experience how much time and attention you're going to give to these things.
Okay.
Do them nicely, but keep your mind on Krishna while you're doing them also. Well, Lord Chaitanya gave that formula. The wife who has a husband, yet she has a lover, in order for her husband not to suspect her relationship with her lover, she does her duties very nicely to her husband, but she's always thinking, when can I be with my lover? She's anxious in that way. And then when the opportunity comes, she takes advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for reminding that again, Guru Maharaj.
It's not that you have to forget about Krishna when you're doing your material duties, just they'll get done.
True.
By remembering Krishna, at least you'll be able to do your material duties in a way that they don't become burdensome. Or overwhelming.
Yeah. True. Okay, any other questions? Any other devotees, please? Any comments? Okay. Yeah, Silpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the wonderful devotees here. Maharaj, is Maya an external energy to us, or is it our minds that are in illusion?
Maya is within and without. Maya, yeah, there's different definitions that describe what Maya is. Maya means that which is not. That which appears to be, but which is not. Have you ever seen like a neon sign flashing, and it's got maybe some nice pictures on it, but it's just a neon sign flashing, and the lights make it attractive. But there's nothing there more than just not lights and different types of arrangements to attract. That's it. We go to sit in a movie and we watch the movie. We know it's a movie, but yet we get absorbed in the movie, and we also get emotions that come by way of our experience by watching the movie. But it's just a movie. It's not even happening. Just some actors playing a part. That's it. So
Maharaj,
yeah, so Maya's there inside, Maya's there outside. Get rid of her inside first, and then then you can recognize her outside, and that becomes easy to remove. If Maya's inside, then when you see her outside, you can't see the difference between inside and outside. It becomes the same. Because we still have our attachments to Maya.
so what aspects of Maya are inside us? How do we recognize?
The biggest one is we think we're this body. That's the foundation for moving outside of Maya. When you realize, at least theoretically, you're not this body. What happens to the body is not happening to you. Although, because of our connection with the body, it appears to be. And so there were so many examples that are given that are so easy to understand. The example that is most prominently used is a car. You drive your car, you get it, you buy your car, you spend some, and you keep your car, you make sure it runs nicely, you keep it clean, you change the oil, do everything. But you're not the car. The car has a purpose. It gets you from one place to another. But his body is like a car. It gets you out of this material world if you drive it in the right direction. Towards the eternal abode. So, but we maintain the body just like we maintain the car. That's it. But it's not us. But don't over maintain it. Don't sit there polishing the car all day. And forget about driving it. Or just park it there and just leave it there and do nothing with it. So, yeah, underuse or overuse, so use it for what it's meant to be. And then but focus your consciousness not on improving the car, but in using the facilities of this body to attach ourselves to the process of devotional service. We have a spiritual mind along with our material mind. All of the senses are material, but in essence, they're covering of our spiritual sense. We have spiritual senses also. So the material body is just like a covering over the soul, and it has the same features as the spiritual body. So the wake-up call is when you die, then you realize, hey, I'm still around. The fear of death is simply not so much of the fear of, fear of death is the anxiety. Where will I go when I leave? Will I come back here as, another Londonite again? Or will I become a dog and just become one of the members of London that bark? Or will I, go to the heavenly planets and make believe I'm enjoying up there? Or will I actually go back to Krishna? So when you go on a vacation or you go on a trip, you usually plan ahead what you're going to do when you get there, how you're going to get there, what do you need to get there. So all that planning is the devotional process. If you
Maharaj,
don't plan to go where you want to go, then you may go anywhere. Karma Daiva trainer says the material energy takes control as soon as you leave, and under the guidance of superior powers, and material energy will give you another situation.
Maharaj, where does the fear or suffering and pain stand in this then? Is that connected to fear of death, or is that separate to it?
I mean, physical pains?
Yeah, like illness, yeah, falling sick. Where does that sit?
Well, the body if the soul is not in the body and you just kick the body and you chop it up, there's no pain. But because the soul is in the body is functioning, all of the parts. So there's pleasure and pain based on the presence of the soul within the body. But when you leave that same body, they just throw it, stick it in a hole and say a few prayers, and every year somebody puts a flower on it. So while you have it, use it. Prabhupada used to say, to have a material body is a bad bargain. To use it in the service of the Lord means is the best use of a bad bargain. If we simply try to maintain the body without connecting it to Krishna in devotional service, at one point it's going to stop anyway. For your maintenance, it's just, you keep it going for a purpose.
Is it sometimes you have to take the body kicking and screaming to do service then, or to do something to please Krishna?
You have to do what?
Sometimes, like they say, take the body like kicking and screaming to get it moving and do something good for Krishna.
Well, if you require a jump start, yeah, maybe. So when you come to Govardhan Eco Village, you'll get high octane fuel. Yeah. You'll get new spark plugs.
And Maharaj, can I ask, you mentioned how the mind and the heart are like the seat of emotions. So we experience a lot of emotions, especially like anxiety and fear. How do we understand that then?
Sridevi can answer that question. Mm-hmm. She's in the midst of a situation where she has personal experience. She can speak from realized.
I can honestly say I am deeply understanding the need to become Krishna conscious. Fully Krishna conscious, not half Krishna conscious, not 3/4 Krishna conscious, not 98% Krishna conscious, but fully Krishna conscious. It's imperative, it's urgent, it's essential. There's no getting away from it. If we really understand the value of what Prabhupada has given, we will try our damnedest to become Krishna conscious. Sorry to use such bad language, but we have to do it. We have to do it after all that Prabhupada has given us. If we do not take advantage and become fully Krishna conscious, what are we doing then? I'm really seeing that in front of my eyes.
Prabhupada said, you may be a great personality, you may be a king, or you may be a diplomat, you may be, you know, somebody who is well respected in this world, but your life's a waste because you've missed the goal of life. The goal of life is God consciousness. If you're not God consciousness, whatever you do is Shrama Eva Hikeva. It's a waste of time. That's all it is. You're just going through the motion, you would call it life, but it's not life. Real life is on the spiritual platform. Material life is, you know, just some show. That's all it is. Even, what is it? Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage. Everyone is playing a role, acting. I'm a Mataji, I'm a Prabhuji, I'm a dog, ruff, ruff, ruff. Everyone is playing roles, but none of the roles fit who they actually are. It's a drama. We are Jiva Sarupai Krishna and Nityadas. That's who we are. That's our eternal identity. And in that simple definition of identity, there is an actual identity that supersedes the general identity. Is that we have form, we have residence in the spirit, we have different natures on the spiritual platform. Although we're all parts and parcels with Krishna, we're also unique in our relationship with Krishna. We have form, we have personality, we have activities. Everything you see in this world that people aspire after and take part in is there in the spiritual world, but in a perfection stage. So when if you're thinking, well, if I give up this material varieties, then I have to go back to the spiritual world, which is varietyless. Actually not. There's more variety in the spiritual world because without varieties, there's no question of love. Love cannot exist unless it's displayed in various varieties of itself. So there's a whole world of activity that is way beyond our perception, but we get a glimpse of it by seeing the pattern of this material world and saying that these same things exist in the spiritual world, but in their perfectional stage, and not in relationship to the body, but in relationship to our eternal relationship with Krishna. These are realities. These are words of the Shastras. I'm not creating some new words just to sound good. These are, and therefore, the process is quite easy. Just hear and chant the glories of the Lord. That's it. If we don't do that, then we can theorize and relativize and surmise so many other things, but we'll never move forward. It's all about hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. That's why Janmashtami is one of the most important festivals. It forces us to accelerate that whole process of hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. When you accelerate, and then when you're finished with the acceleration situation, you still have some of that acceleration left, where you can continue that even outside of the situation. But Krishna comes just to remind us what we're supposed to be doing. Krishna takes so much trouble just to wake us up. So much.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Ulka Mataji.
We have one from Olga.
Olga Mataji. That's
Yes.
how I said. Mute myself.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, dear devotees, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, during the retreat in Slovenia, it's been mentioned that we should not be focused on development of qualities, that everything will come as we progress in Krishna consciousness. And my question is, what about tapasya? What about control of tongue, stomach, genitals? So should we focus on control of those with our willpower, or it is also coming, gradually?
If you don't control them, they'll control you. Vacho Vegam, Manaso Vegam, Akroda Vegam, Upasta Vegam. Well, read the verse. Can you bring it up, Sukha? Sri Upanishads. No, I'm sorry. Upadeshamrita, verse number 1. If you don't control, these are called vegams. Vegams means pushing. There's an urge to speak. There's an urge to for the belly to get filled up. There's an urge for the genitals to get satisfaction. There's the urge for the different senses to connect with the sense objects. These urges are there. They come automatically.
Okay, thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring that up, Guru Maharaj.
It's a very important verse. I mean, he asked a very important question.
I know it is not from Veda base, but this is the verse I found.
Vacho Vegam, Manaso Jiva Vegam, Udara Pasta Vegam, Etad Vegam, Yo Vishaheta Dira, Swavam Apimam Putivim Sishisha. A person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. And then here it says, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? One who's less intelligent, garrison. So then this is a very long report. But ultimately, if you don't control them, they'll control you. Because the word vegam means pushing. They're pushing. They're bothering you for satisfaction. So unless you make an effort to control them, in some cases deny them, in some cases dovetail them in the service of the Lord. So the eating process can be purified by eating only Krishna Prasadam, not too much, not too little. The urge to speak cannot be stopped. It must be used in the glorification of the Lord. The genitals, that's for married life. For those who require that, then they can use that in order to produce Krishna conscious children. So all of these begams or pushings, the mind's demand, the mind says, do this, go here, achieve this. One has to direct their mind away from doing something that is material and direct that same mind towards gathering information or using the intelligence to hear about the glories of the Lord. So yeah, you have to make an effort. Otherwise, these things will control you. It's not that we have to sit back and do nothing and just go in. The process of devotional service teaches you how to control these different pushings. So you bring those pushings in connection with Krishna in devotional service. That's it. But sometimes you have to say no to these pushings when there's an urge. Like someone might have an urge to have relationships with somebody else's wife or husband. So that's unlawful and that's dangerous. So that has to be checked simply by the power of one's checking power, by the intelligence, and by forcibly taking one's mind away from that and diverting it to some spiritual activity.
Mm.
So we have to, yeah, these things are there. They're always there. The belly wants to get full. So we can eat, and then we get so much, we get so big that we get diabetes after a while. We get so many other problems. We get tiredness. And the liver can't work properly anymore. Pancreas is not doing its job, you know. So if we, even the physical breakdown that comes with accepting too much food causes much difficulty in one's life. So one has to eat according to what is needed, not too much, not too little. And that may be different from person to person. So that requires some, thoughtfulness, how to do that. Not be slaves to the demands of the tongue. The tongue wants to taste. Oh yes, let me taste this. Let me taste that. Let me taste this. And the tongue, one who is chasing the tongue everywhere can never practice Krishna consciousness. That's the first thing out of all of these Vedas. The first one is to control the tongue. Speaking about Krishna or speaking about devotional service, taking Krishna prasadam, not too much, not too little. All of this is mentioned by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. He gives a formula.
Yep. Thank you very much. Lalita Mataji, is it helping? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Revati Mataji has got a question. Revati Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hi, Krishna Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. So, Guru Maharaj, my question is about remembering Krishna. So, is there like a different levels, like as we progress in bhakti, how we remember Krishna? Because now we remember Krishna as we see Krishna as a protector. So what should be our mood like as we progress in bhakti to remember Krishna?
Well, he's the lovable object. He protects, that's there, but that's not the main reason why we remember him. He's providing things that we need also, but that's not the main reason. He's a provider, the protector, the maintainer. He does all of these things. But that's not the purpose of bhakti. The bhakti is to awaken our love for Krishna. So hear about Krishna's pastimes. Chant the glories of the holy name. These are ways by which we develop our attraction for Krishna, our love for Krishna.
We should develop the mood Krishna as object of love.
Yeah, that's the whole process of devotional service. Ends with prema bhakti. That's the goal.
Thank you very much.
All you have to do is try to love Krishna, and you can love Krishna, because to love Krishna is natural. He's lovable. It's there. And when you make efforts to exhibit your love, it starts to awaken.
Yes, Guru. Thank you. Just to have follow-up this question on Shilpesh Prabhuji's, like Guru Maharaj, you mentioned because of the soul's presence, we experience pleasure and pain in the body. But when soul, as it progresses, when it becomes Krishna, I mean, originally soul is Krishna conscious, but when right now it's conditioned, but when the condition goes away, do we still experience the pleasure?
The devotee just tolerates those things. As we make progress in devotional service, maybe bodily pains and pleasures may also come and go. The devotee just tolerates them. For the non-devotee, they center their life around getting pleasure and avoiding them. The devotee doesn't worry about them. They come and they go. That's it. He just tolerates them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare
So
Krishna.
for Krishna consciousness, you start to experience these things in a lesser intensity. In other words, you're just there, but you don't put too much attention on them.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sridevi Mataji, do you have a question?
Yes, please. Guru Maharaj, I wanted to also ask you, please, how can I know that I'm making nice progress in bhakti? What are the indications that I am doing my best and that
Sridevi, come on, and that's a baby question. You've been asked that you asked that question so many times in the past. You know the answer. Why are you asking that question? Is that for the benefit of everybody else? You know that if you don't know that question, then what are you doing then? The answer to that.
I'm feeling a little unsure because I'm thinking after many, many years of practicing Krishna consciousness, how we can be, sometimes illusioned. That's what is concerning me.
You fall into illusion, then just get out. Chat. I'm not going to say anything on that question or answer because you know the answer. And you're preaching. So if somebody asks you that question, what are you going to tell them? I don't know.
No, I will definitely say you're going to get more and more attracted to Krishna and less attracted to the spiritual material energy. You're going to take more and more interest in loving and serving Krishna's devotees. You're going to be more and more enthusiastic to engage in devotional service. And that's how you know you're making progress.
Hey, why is that? When the disease is getting less, the belly gets healthy.
I think Sridevi Mataji was asking for all of us, Guru Maharaj.
No,
And
no. I was
she
asking
answered
for
herself.
I was really asking for me because it's
One,
pretty heavy what's happening here.
this is not a nice story, but it happens. One leading preacher during Prabhupada's time in the early days, he asked a question. Prabhupada said, "You're out there preaching and you don't know the answer to that question?" And for 20 minutes, Prabhupada just let him have it. 20 minutes. It was so devastating that the devotees who were there, they kept trying to interrupt Prabhupada just to free the devotee. He was like sinking into the floor. He couldn't move. Prabhupada wasn't going to let up. You're out there preaching and you're asking that question? I won't do what Prabhupada did because we always have to be kind to the ladies. But if you were a guy, I would let you have it. So you're supposed to know that. You answered the question anyway. Sukava.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. That helped me as well, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. Definitely needed slap. Any other questions? Any devotees last minute? Because then we can, Guru Maharaj, can we have one round of chanting, please, afterwards?
I'm going to chant for a while and then I'll just disappear.
Okay.
You can stay on and host it. If you don't have time, then you can turn the host over to
Sri Yeah, okay.
somebody.
Sure.
Okay, I'll be back in a moment.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone, for such a lovely question and answer. It was such a lovely class. Learned a lot. Thank you so much.
It was hosted very expertly, Sukava Mataji.
I am not. I'm the worst host. I know Anasuya Mataji is the best one.
But we appreciate you.
That's your kindness, bro. We'll see you tomorrow. You there, aren't you?
Yes, I'll be in the Goshala.
Okay. First thing we can see you while we enter. Perfect. We've got a festival starting from tomorrow, 9 o'clock onwards at Bhaktivedanta Manor. It'll be so nice. Can't wait for it.
You know, it's been raining today. Would the fields be okay for the parking?
Yeah, that's what is worrying me. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it should dry up. That's what the weather was saying. But let's pray. Let's pray.
You want some sunshine?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, please. It's raining. We've got festival tomorrow.
Wow, we have more than we need here. It's like
Send
almost
some over, please.
35 degrees here.
Oh my God. Here it's miserable.
Chant and make it less miserable.
Yes. Let's chant. Let's chant.
Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Hari 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hari 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 Ram Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hari 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 Ram Hare Ram, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Oh, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,